My aunt and uncle fueled it. Every little achievement came with a party, a framed certificate, a group text, and a Facebook album with a name like Mallory's Big Moment. Dot. When I got the invitation to her graduation party, I already knew what to expect. A catered backyard event at their place in the suburbs, probably with string lights, champagne, and an overpriced tent rental. What I didn't expect was the role I'd be given when I arrived. I pulled up a little early to avoid the usual chaos, only to be immediately intercepted by Aunt Kara, Mallory's mom, waving a fluorescent vest like I just clocked in for a shift. "Oh, perfect. Liam, we were hoping you could help with the parking situation. We've got cars backing up down the street." "No hello." "No, thanks for coming. Just a vest, a walkie-talkie, and a pat on the back like I was some college freshman working valet on the weekends." I blinked at her. "I'm not working the party, Kara. I came to celebrate." She laughed like I'd made a joke. "Just help us out for an hour or so. You're good with logistics, right? Your little online thing?" I should have walked away then. I should have handed her the vest and said no. But something in me, probably that cursed family loyalty, made me take it. I spent the first 90 minutes of that party waving SUVs into grass patches and helping elderly relatives shuffle their walkers over uneven ground. No one relieved me. No one brought me a drink. When I finally sat down at one of the fold-out tables near the back, sweaty and dust-covered, the actual celebration was already in full swing. There was a massive banner stretched across the yard, "Congrats, Mallory," in glittery gold. A red bow was tied around the driveway gate, which had apparently been hiding a brand-new Kia Soul. Guests were crowded around the cake table, sipping drinks and eating. I got a half-hearted wave from my mom, who was seated front and center like she'd raised Mallory herself. I spotted my name scrawled on a paper place card shoved behind a decorative fern near the buffet line, far from the main tables. Mallory was glowing. She wore a white dress that caught the light with every movement, and she floated from table to table like she was running for office. At one point, a microphone was passed to her, and she tapped it dramatically before giving a little giggle. "I just want to thank everyone for coming," she began, holding her champagne flute high. "It means so much to be surrounded by people who value hard work and real education, especially in a time where it's so easy to get distracted by online hobbies." She smiled directly at me. The pause was intentional. The delivery, razor sharp. And the reaction? Laughter. Actual laughter. My uncle snorted. My cousin Jason spit out a sip of his drink. Even my mom gave a tight, embarrassed smile like she'd been caught trying not to laugh but couldn't help herself. I felt the heat rise up my neck. I stared at the condensation dripping down my untouched drink, willing myself not to react. "Not yet," Mallory continued, oblivious or maybe just bold. "Some of us spent 4 years earning a degree that actually means something. Sorry, not sorry." More laughter. She clinked glasses with a few nearby guests and handed the mic back like a drop-the-mic moment from a teen drama. My mom looked over at me finally, gave a little shrug, and mouthed, "She didn't mean it." The thing is, I didn't care about the car. I didn't care about the banner or the speech or the fact that every single photo being snapped had me cropped out in the background, standing near the hedge like a forgotten waiter. What stung was the years of quiet dismissals, the smirks when I tried to explain my work, the way my own mother would breeze past my updates to talk about which of Mallory's professors used to work in the State Department. But in that moment, sitting there with dust on my sneakers and a drink in my hand, something inside me shifted. I waited until the last toast had been made, until the clapping died down and people began migrating toward the dance floor where a Bluetooth speaker played top 40 hits. I stood, brushed off my pants, and made my way up to the main table where Mallory and her friends were posing for photos beside the car, still high off applause. "Hey, Mallory," I said, casually, loud enough for the nearby crowd to hear. She turned, mid-laugh, clearly not expecting me to speak. "Yeah?" she asked, eyes narrowed. I lifted my glass and smiled. "Just wanted to say congrats." "Really? Must feel great knowing your degree got you here. And it's awesome that your family supports you so much." I took a long sip. My little online hobby just cleared $1.2 million this year. But hey, nice Kia. Silence. Mallory's smile froze. Someone behind her dropped a fork. My uncle's mouth fell open. My mom blinked twice like she couldn't process the words. I didn't wait for their reactions to settle. I just nodded, turned on my heel, and walked off toward the gate. The last thing I heard was someone whisper, "Wait, what did he say?" And I had no intention of sticking around for what came next. As I walked down the gravel driveway toward my car, I could feel all the stairs drilling into my back like heat lamps. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I'd played my part. I'd said what I needed to say, and I knew that little mic drop moment would ripple through the party like a pebble in still water. The thing is, I hadn't planned to say anything. I really hadn't. But years of being the family's quiet afterthought, the one who got the short end of the conversation and the long list of favors, had finally stacked up. And Mallory's smug little jab? That was the final straw. When I slid into my car and pulled out, no one came chasing after me. Not yet. But by the time I got home, parked in front of my place, a sleek three-bedroom house I'd bought outright last year, my phone had already begun buzzing. First came the texts. One from my mom, that was uncalled for. Liam, you embarrassed the whole family. Followed immediately by another. We'll talk later. Please don't make a big deal out of this. Then from Aunt Kara, was that really necessary? Mallory worked hard for her degree. You're not the only one with accomplishments. I didn't reply. I powered down my phone, tossed it on the kitchen counter, and let the silence of my house wash over me. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The fallout came in waves over the next few days. Monday morning, I opened my business email to find 3 new interview requests. Apparently, one of Mallory's guests had looked up my company after the party and was beyond impressed with what we'd built. Built, not fell into. Not your little online thing. That word meant something to me. A month ago, I might have passed the requests off to my assistant. But now, I took the calls myself. For once, I wanted people to hear my story. Tuesday evening, my mom showed up at my door. She didn't text first, just rang the bell, holding a Tupperware container like this was still 2006 and I was a college kid who needed lasagna and life advice. I opened the door slowly. Hey, she said, a bit too softly. I brought dinner. I stepped aside, motioning her in. She hovered in the entryway, I scanning the living room like she was seeing it for the first time. The minimalist furniture, the local art pieces, the smart lighting, all of it screaming success in a language she'd never really bothered to learn. You've done well for yourself, she said, finally. Yeah, I said. I have. She set the Tupperware on the counter and sighed. You embarrassed Mallory. And the whole family. She's devastated. I folded my arms, leaning against the kitchen island. Mom, she mocked me. Publicly. I didn't start anything. I finished it. But $1.2 million? She said it like it was a sin. Like saying it aloud might summon some IRS demon. It's the truth. She paused, jaw tight. Why didn't you ever tell me? I laughed, not unkindly. I did. You just never wanted to hear it. You liked the version of me that needed help. That fit into your little narrative, Liam the dropout, the one still figuring things out. You could pity me. But I stopped needing that a long time ago. She sat down heavily, like my words knocked the wind out of her. I wasn't trying to pity you, she said quietly. No. I asked. Then why was it always Mallory so driven? And I was just the kid who makes stickers in his room. She didn't have an answer for that. Instead, she said, Mallory's looking for a job, you know. Nothing's come through yet. I smiled tightly. So the real degree didn't open every door after all? That earned me a scowl. Don't be cruel. I'm not. I'm just tired of pretending I haven't earned my place in this family. She stood up, brushing invisible crumbs off her blouse. She wants to apologize, she mumbled. Does she? I raised an eyebrow. She said she went too far. I didn't reply, because I didn't believe it. Not yet. Later that night, I checked my phone for the first time since Saturday. A text from Mallory sat there, unread. Hey. About the party, I shouldn't have said what I said. That was messed up. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was unsure of what to do, but because the power dynamic had shifted. And suddenly, everyone knew it. For years, they thought I was the guy scraping by with Wi-Fi and a dream. Now, I was the guy who built an empire while they weren't looking. But the real moment things truly spiraled came the following weekend. Aunt Kara called me directly. No warning. Just a voicemail. Liam, I need to talk to you about something important. We've run into a bit of a financial situation. I didn't want to bring this up, but your uncle's hours got cut, and the lease on Mallory's new car isn't exactly manageable. I know things got tense, but we're still family, right? That's when it clicked. They weren't just embarrassed. They wanted something. I played the voicemail twice. Not because I needed to hear what she said again, but because I couldn't believe how quickly the tone had changed. Just days earlier, I'd been the family joke in a vest waving cars into grass patches. Now I was the emergency exit. I didn't call Aunt Kara back right away. I didn't even respond. I let it sit. Let her wonder if I'd heard it. Let the discomfort grow. I knew this pattern. It was familiar. First the mockery, then the silence, then the sudden warmth and "we're still family" line as soon as they needed a favor. And make no mistake, this was a favor, an expensive one. I sat down at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, and pulled up Mallory's Instagram. She'd posted a carousel of pictures from the party, the banner, the speeches, the keys to her new car, captioned with, "To new beginnings and real work that makes a difference." Right. Real work. That phrase again. I scrolled through the comments. Dozens of likes from extended family members, friends, old classmates. A few of them tagged her saying how inspiring she was. One of them even commented, "Can't wait to work with you at the embassy." That made me smirk. I knew for a fact Mallory hadn't landed a single job offer yet. Not because she told me, but because my mom had accidentally let it slip while she was half defending her in my kitchen. The girl who toasted to real degrees and mocked online hobbies was now 3 months into post-grad unemployment and clearly sweating it. Still, I wasn't planning on doing anything. I wasn't out for blood. Not yet. But then came the second call. This one was from my uncle. "Liam, hey, just wanted to clear the air, but you know we love you. Always have. That whole party thing? Just some playful teasing. Mallory's got a sharp sense of humor, huh? Takes after her dad." He chuckled awkwardly. "Anyway, look, about that lease. Kara mentioned she left you a message. We're just a little tight this month. Would really mean a lot if you could float us the first couple payments, just to keep things smooth while Mallory settles in. I mean, you did say your business was doing well, right?" I sat there in stunned silence, holding my phone like it was a live grenade. The audacity was almost artistic. Not a single mention of the years I'd spent quietly footing bills for birthday gifts, holiday dinners, or family emergencies while they offered me folding chairs and backhanded compliments. Not a single acknowledgement that what Mallory said was cruel, not teasing, not playful, not just a joke. No apology. Just more entitlement. Just more of the same. That's when I opened the spreadsheet. The one I'd kept for years. Not obsessively, just methodically. Every dollar I'd ever lent or spent on this family. From the $300 I gave Jason for textbooks he never paid back, to the $2,000 I floated Kara and her husband when their roof started leaking 2 winters ago. Every favor I'd been guilt into. Every bill I paid quietly just to keep the peace. The grand total? $42,860. $42,860. Not counting interest. Not counting emotional labor. Not counting the way they made me feel like a glorified piggy bank with no real accomplishments. I stared at the number for a long time. Then I took a deep breath and started drafting a message. To Mallory. "Hey, got your text. Been thinking about it. Appreciate the apology, but I've been thinking maybe it's time for some clarity. For everyone's sake. You're right, by the way. You did work hard. I just don't think that justifies mocking other people's success, especially when you don't fully understand it. But more than that, I'm realizing that I've spent years investing in this family, financially and emotionally, and all I've really gotten in return is dismissiveness. I'm not angry, but I'm done playing the role of the invisible ATM. I wish you luck on the job hunt. Really, but I won't be covering the car or anything else going forward." I read it twice. No venom, no gloating, just a line in the sand. Then I sent a version of that message to my uncle, my aunt, and more delicately to my mom. She called instantly. "Liam, wait, can we talk about this?" "You can't just." "Yes," I interrupted, calm and clear. "I can." And I just did. There was a pause on the other end of the line. For the first time, she didn't have a script. Didn't know what to say. "Did you really make over $1 million last year?" "Yes." "How?" "You never asked." Another long silence. "What do you want us to do?" she asked, her voice low. And that question sat with me for a moment. Because that was the thing, wasn't it? I didn't want them to do anything. I just wanted them to stop expecting me to do everything. I ended the call without another word. Not out of spite, but because for once, I didn't owe anyone a performance. The mask was off. The bank was closed. And the joke of the family had finally spoken. Mallory didn't respond to my message for 2 days. I figured she was either stewing, crafting some faux gracious reply, or too embarrassed to say anything at all. Honestly, I didn't care. I'd said my piece. The weight that had been pressing on my chest for years, the guilt, the obligation, The constant feeling of being seen but never valued was finally gone. For the first time in forever, I felt light. Then, on the third day, I got a calendar invite. Subject, coffee. From Mallory Summers. Time, Saturday, 10 a.m. Location, Cafe Alder, downtown. I stared at it for a while, debating whether to decline. But part of me was curious. I accepted, not because I expected some heartfelt apology, but because I wanted to look her in the eye and see what, if anything, was real underneath all that polished superiority. Saturday morning rolled around gray and rainy. Fitting, I thought. I arrived 10 minutes early and ordered a black coffee. No frills. No distractions. She walked in 5 minutes late, wearing a cream blazer, heels, and a face full of carefully curated humility. Even in a downpour, Mallory dressed like someone who expected a spotlight. "Liam," she said with a small smile, sliding into the seat across from me. "Thanks for coming." "Didn't think you'd show," I replied calmly. "Neither did I," she admitted. "But here we are." We sat in silence for a beat. She stirred her latte like it was an art project. "I read your message," she finally said. "Twice." "Okay. And you're right." I raised an eyebrow. "I was awful," she continued. "Not just at the party. For years. I made fun of your work because I didn't understand it. And because, if I'm being honest, I was jealous. That caught me off guard." "Jealous?" I echoed. "Yeah," she said, not meeting my eyes. "You found your thing. You made it work. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here with a shiny degree, 0 job offers, and a car my parents can't afford. That joke I made at the party? It was less about you and more about me. Trying to feel better about where I'm not." I let her words settle. I didn't rush to forgive. I wasn't even sure I wanted to. "I appreciate you saying that," I said, slow and deliberate. "But that doesn't undo years of jabs. Of being treated like I was less than. By everyone. Including my own mother." "I know," she whispered. "That's on me. And them. All of us." I nodded, eyes fixed on the rain sliding down the window beside us. "Why did you really ask me here, Mallory?" She bit her lip. "Not for money. I swear." "Good. Because that door is closed." She nodded quickly. "I know. I didn't come to ask for help. I wanted to own it. Publicly." I looked at her, confused. "Publicly." That's when she reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. She opened her Instagram app, turned the screen toward me, and hit record on a story. "Hi everyone," she said, smiling awkwardly into the camera. "So, this is a little uncomfortable, but it's time I say something." I sat frozen as she continued recording. "At my graduation party last week, I made a pretty nasty comment about online businesses and people who work outside the traditional system. It was petty, cruel, and frankly, completely inaccurate. My cousin Liam is one of the most driven, successful people I know. He built his business from scratch, with no handouts and no shortcuts, and I publicly belittled him for it. That's on me. And I'm sorry. Not just to him, but to anyone I influenced with that attitude. Real success doesn't come with a diploma, it comes with effort. And Liam, if you're watching this, thank you for calling me out. I needed it." She stopped the video, posted it without hesitation, and slid the phone back into her purse. I blinked. That was unexpected. She shrugged. "I deserve to be embarrassed. You were for years. It's only fair." For the first time in a long time, I saw her not as Mallory the Golden Girl, but just a young woman trying to untangle herself from the image her family built around her. And maybe, from the one she built around herself. "You're lucky I'm not a petty man," I said with a small smile. She smirked. "Don't push it." We talked for another hour. Not about money or careers or family.